Nicola Sturgeon was accused of having the most dishonest political discourse anywhere in the world by a furious Nigel Farage, before he unleashed his pro-union mandate to save the UK. Ms. Sturgeon and Mr. Farage are set to go head-to-head in May's Holyrood elections, as the Scottish National Party (SNP) leader and Reform UK chief lay out their arguments for and against Scotland staying in the UK. Mr. Farage's Reform UK delivered its election pledges after announcing ex-Tory MSP Michelle Ballantyne as its leader north of the border this month. Mr. Farage has often clashed with Ms. Sturgeon, as the SNP leader has continually demanded another vote on Scottish independence following the UK's decision to leave the EU. Her requests have been ruled out by Parliament, with Prime Minister Boris Johnson insisting Scotland's referendum in 2014 was a once-in-a-generation vote, which saw the No camp succeed. While campaigning as part of the Brexit Party, Reform UK's predecessor, Mr. Farage accused Ms. Sturgeon of making a vow to Scottish people that would undermine her country's sovereignty. The former UKIP leader insisted politics is full of deception, particularly Ms. Sturgeon's claim that separating the UK but staying part of the EU means Scotland will be independent. He told a rally in Edinburgh 2 years ago how 30% of SNP voters didn't want to be part of the EU, adding, "It is, I think, the most dishonest political discourse I've ever seen anywhere in the world. You cannot be independent if you're governed from the European Court of Justice. You cannot be independent if you're in the EU's customs union and single market. You cannot be independent if you're governed by Monsieur Barnier and Mr. Juncker." At the time, Jean-Claude Juncker had recently stood down as president of the European Commission, while Michel Barnier was the EU's chief negotiator on Brexit. The independence debate has seen Ms. Sturgeon and Mr. Farage routinely clash, and in the run-up to the 2019 general election, the Scottish First Minister claimed the then Brexit Party leader was putting Scotland's future at risk. Her comments came as Mr. Farage announced that in the vote he would not be standing Brexit Party candidates in Conservative-held seats, to help Mr. Johnson's party. Mr. Farage wanted the Conservatives to have the ability to roundly win the election, which they did, in order to secure Mr. Johnson's Get Brexit Done mandate. Ms. Sturgeon suggested that any form of Brexit that is acceptable for Mr. Farage is going to be deeply damaging for Scotland, adding, "It really does underline the view that if you don't take Scotland's future into Scotland's hands at this election, then the danger is our future is imposed upon us by Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage."